Welcome to Operation Liftoff, MISD Mission Moon. We are going to follow NASA and set off on an exciting journey to the moon. Let's get this project launched. You are all going to be involved in a moon-themed challenge, and your challenge is to create an invention for life on the moon. The moon is a pretty amazing place. From wide-ranging temperatures to far less gravity, it's definitely very different to Earth. You can see some facts on the screen, but we'll be picking up more as we work through this project. What you might see in the night sky just by looking up are literally millions of stars, as well as the sun and moon. But that's not all. We're going to think more about the moon in the next presentation. Let's stick with space for the time being. Did you know there are 5 planets you can spot with your naked eye? Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And while they might appear as small dots in the sky, their true sizes tell another story. The planets themselves aren't light sources. What you actually see is the light of the sun reflected by the planets. How many other space facts do you know? Space is immense, and what we can see is only a fraction of what's out there. Some planets and stars are too far away for us to see. And there are other things that don't capture light and are invisible to us, like gravity, space radiation, and black holes. Gravity is the force that stops us floating off into space when we are standing on the Earth. Space radiation is something we need to take seriously in space. It can make astronauts susceptible to radiation sickness, disease, and increased risk of cancer. When it comes to space, this mostly unknown world has captured our imaginations for a very long time. For thousands of years, travelers on land and sea have used the positions of the stars to navigate. Greek and Roman astrologers began reading the stars to explain our personalities and predict the future, and they named the planets after their gods and goddesses. Do you know any of the constellations? Can you create your own constellation? Try the activity in your inventor's log. Over the centuries, we have learned a lot about our own planet, but space still remains mostly unknown and full of mysteries. Here's the space timeline. Can you guess the 3 missing dates? Press pause now if you're not ready for the answers. The first moon landing was in 1969. The first giant space telescope was launched in 1990. And the International Space Station became constantly occupied by humans in 2000. As we go about our daily lives, we understand what it is we see around us. Cars, our school, we know what they are, how big they are, and how far away from us they are. But then we look up at the night sky. Space is an infinity full of comets, stars, planets, galaxies, and more. Because of varying gravity levels, a person would weigh nothing in space, and on the moon, your weight would be around 16.5% of your normal weight. Lack of gravity is not something to laugh about. Our bodies aren't used to being weightless, so being in space for a long time can weaken muscles and bones. Bodily fluids also shift to our heads and can even change the shape of our eyeballs. It's time to start thinking about what life in space might be like with microgravity. NASA have recently redesigned their toilet to make it easier for everyone to use. The new toilet cost $23 million to make. Of course, this is no ordinary toilet. Firstly, a fan inside the toilet sucks waste away from the body. Any poop is compressed and will eventually be sent off in a trash spacecraft that burns up in the atmosphere. Literally, everything has to be tied down in space, even people when they go to sleep. This is where Velcro comes in handy. Products that have been designed for space often turn into useful objects back on Earth. On the screen, you can see some examples. The rubber soles of sneakers are molded for extra comfort. This comes from a process used to make space helmets more comfortable. Scientists worked on creating small but powerful cameras for use on spaceships. They are now used in a lot of smartphones. Infrared technology was used to take the temperatures of stars by measuring the infrared radiation emitted from them. A private company then worked with NASA and developed the technology to take our temperatures by measuring energy emitted by the eardrum. Material developed by space pilots to make the journey from launch to orbit more comfortable has evolved into memory foam mattresses. Lift off into the galaxy and imagine where you'd like to go, who you'd like to go with, and what you'd hope to discover. Use this worksheet in your inventor's log to think about what you would like to do in space. Would you send a boomerang into a black hole? Eat an ice cream on the moon? Try and juggle on Mars? Take a shower on Venus? It's time to flex your invention muscles. From everything you've heard so far, can you create an invention that would improve life on the moon? Visit misd.littleinventors.org to find out more about this challenge. This workshop was brought to you by Little Inventors and MISD, with thanks to our brilliant partners.